get set up here, let me do an introduction about why I'm doing this. So in 1998, I homesteaded in a county 20 miles north of downtown Nashville, Tennessee. Since I couldn't sing, my next 14 years had me employed by a service company driving around in a van full of tools and parts fixing stuff. Work had me running all over Nashville and vicinity, including the downtown district. I became very familiar with its many landmarks of that time, from old historic buildings to the high-rises and a dozen or so skyscrapers. In 2012, I changed jobs to work at just one place. I no longer had to go in or around downtown. As it stands, I've probably only gone downtown maybe 4 times in my 25 years here just for R&R. So I have not been downtown for nearly 12 years now, until today. From what I saw, simply put, the face of Nashville changed as if I hadn't seen any of y'all's faces in 30 years. I could barely recognize it. So in this first video, I'll only show the view from the interstate part. I'll do a second video for when I drove through it.
I'm going to do it now, folks. It's a little noisy. I've got both windows open. I've got a camera mounted over on the driver's side and another camera mounted on the passenger side. I'm going to take a drive around downtown Nashville, get a look at how things have changed using my personal smartphone here to take the front view. It's a little wobbly. Catch up with you here in a minute. Coming down the interstate right now.
Anyway, if you've worked downtown for nearly 15 to 20 years, this drive won't reveal anything new to you. If you haven't been downtown in a long while, well, let me just tell you now, it is nearly as mind-numbing as trying to take in your first visit to the Grand Canyon.
That's the scene of downtown coming down I-65 South. Both the beautiful downtown area, the rough interstates, and the idiot drivers. I'm going to follow the South I-65 road. It used to be called 265, but it's been called 65 now for a while. And do kind of a counterclockwise rotation around the entire downtown area.
Here's a map of the general overview of the path that I'm taking. Pay attention to this because there will be a test at the end.
Crossing the Cumberland River.
Now that I'm looking at it, that's the same bridge I went under back in 2011 during a 286 nautical mile cruise I did over the course of 4.5 days in a 34-foot boat that I owned for a minute. Fond memories there. I'm glad it's gone though. It certainly proved to be a hole in the water I threw way too much money into.
I'm sure there's a lot of glare looking forward. I was trying to get this on more of a cloudy day, or overcast anyway, but instead it's more of a day that's, well, coming to an end actually. The sun will be going down in about 45 minutes. Hopefully I can get enough video between now and then. Right now it's almost 4 o'clock.
Now I'm currently going southbound. Up here is going to be a convoluted interchange on the interstate. You gotta go right in order to turn left, basically, because left being east. Otherwise, you would want to be going left in order to turn right to go west. That's not the only interchange like that in Nashville. It's quite a source of confusion for a lot of folks that pass through here. After all, you have the convergence of 3 major interstates, I-24, 65, and 40, passing through.
It's actually the holiday weekend right now, and one of the reasons why I want to pick this day, or a day like this, for the reduced amount of traffic. With the only exception being that the Titans and the Seahawks game let out about an hour ago. I hope I don't get mixed up with that traffic. We'll find out here in a minute, though.
Now, I'll never claim to know diddly squat about building buildings, but I do watch YouTube. Perhaps there ought to be a YouTube university because I think I'm so smart now from watching it that I should have a YouTube degree. Anyway, way back when buildings started getting taller, stricter building codes were established in response to the San Francisco fires early 20th century. That's when steel, concrete, and masonry became the requirement for anything taller than 3 stories, since those materials aren't flammable. Well, it was from YouTube that I learned about changes in the International Building Code, which occurred in the late 1990s. Those changes allowed for the use of fire-retardant treated wood to construct buildings up to 5 stories because it was deemed to be non-combustible. A Los Angeles architect took advantage of that change when he realized that a 5/1 model would bring the construction costs down substantially, therefore making 100-unit affordable housing projects financially viable. Underneath those 5 stories, only the bottom floor, referred to as the podium, needed to be steel and concrete. A later change in the International Building Code extended that to 5/2 buildings. What's this have to do with downtown Nashville? Well, that's one of the reasons for this drive. These buildings have all popped up everywhere, downtown, around town, well away from downtown, in just about any town or city. They're everywhere. I didn't do any more research on building codes since that's a foreign language to me. However, I did run across an even more recent trend. Wood skyscrapers. More accurately called mass timber structure. I'm not kidding. The 2021 International Building Code now allows the use of mass timber, specifically mass ply panels, or MPP, deemed to be non-combustible materials in buildings up to 18 stories. If that wasn't enough, once again, California set even higher limits. In Oakland, California, in 2023, there is now a 20-story skyscraper in which the top 17 floors are mass ply panels, or wood. The columns, the beams, all floor decks, all are comprised of wood as the main part of their structure. Only the first 3 floors are constructed in steel and concrete, once again referred to as the podium. Will we see these wooden skyscrapers in Nashville? Well, on August 4th, 2023, Mayor John Cooper signed a new code into law, amending the Metro Building Code by adopting standards regulating mass timber construction, which will now allow certain subtypes of mass timber developments a maximum height of 18 stories. Who'da thunk? So it should be readily apparent that these changes in building code have allowed far cheaper construction costs. In addition to that, we got to consider the fact that Nashville's population growth has just boomed in the last 10-15 years. That, and as well as other factors, have perpetuated the expansion of downtown Nashville and Nashville itself. I'll cover that in the next video. Meanwhile, enjoy the view. Well, shoot. With my being all smart about building codes and all, I forgot about the test at the end. Well, here you go. Your question. If you're floating down the river on a cement canoe and the wheels fall off, how many pancakes does it take to shingle a doghouse?